Hello YouTube, and welcome to this later than usual edition of What the Papers Say with White Van Man. I am a white van man, and I am a nosy neighbour. Now, as a white van man, I am of course a theatrical construct and a figment of somebody's imagination, and all my words are therefore in the realm of theatre. So if I were to say, for instance, fuck the Queen, fuck the Pope, fuck the Jews, fuck the Christians, fuck migrants, etc., I would be a theatrical character acting out an imaginary persona, and not someone who you could take to court or sue or otherwise prosecute. Okay, so now we've established that I am an imaginary person. On with what the papers say. And now, I have read the paper today, but I can't look at it because I'm driving. And if you don't believe me, have a look at that. I am on the M1, headed north after being in Nottingham again. That's Nottingham twice in 1 week. Where I went to help my son buy a car. And he is following me as we speak. So, on with what the papers say. I guess the headline of the papers in Britain anyway is death figures in care homes hidden and kept secret to protect care home providers. Really? Yeah, what the papers say is pish and bollocks, because since I don't believe anything I read in the papers, I would have to ask myself, what does that headline really mean? I mean, if you take it at face value, the death figures in care homes certainly were kept secret. But who were they protecting? Perhaps they were protecting a government who shipped sick people suffering from coronavirus or infected with coronavirus into the care homes to free up beds for an alleged tsunami of victims that never transpired, therefore ensuring the infection of vast numbers of elderly, vulnerable, weak people who then died. In fact, the largest demographic of people who died in Britain are elderly care home occupants, courtesy of the government shipping COVID cases there directly from hospital after they tested positive. So, care home deaths kept secret to protect the providers? I don't think so. No, I think that was done and is being done to protect the government, who are of course lying, murdering scum. Convid, Mohammed, yes I know. Convid, the plandemic, the scamdemic, I know. So that's the care home story, once upon a time, boys and girls. And another fairy story in the newspapers today is that Donald Trump is the protector of America. Yes, it was Donald Trump's speech to the convention. I didn't see it, but it's in the papers, and he's positioned himself as America's protector, protecting them from debt by getting them into $26 trillion worth of debt, protecting them from the ravages of Wall Street by abandoning protections and oversight of corporations and Wall Street on behalf of the American people, protecting the American people from coronavirus by failing to institute practices which might have protected elderly, sick and vulnerable people, a bit like our government, who really protected those sick, elderly and vulnerable people from a disease which would struggle to kill my elderly grandma, who is dead, but that's another story. But nonetheless, they are the people most at risk from, you know, the flu, the common cold and coronavirus. Not you and me. We're not at risk. And being in England again just reminds me of how uptight and paranoid and fearful the masses have become in this science fiction dystopian future that we now live in, where the government says you have to be afraid of something which isn't killing anybody, didn't kill anybody in Scotland for 6 weeks, and our children have to wear masks in school, making them surely anxious and fearful. What the fuck is going on? Yeah. So that's the coronavirus story. Trump is a protector of the American people. A bit like Batman without a mask or a cape or a compelling backstory. So not really like Batman at all. A bit like Donald Trump, a lying scumbag who would do anything to get re-elected, including and not limited to lying to you, lying about the past, lying about the future, and whatever else it takes. Who's he protecting America from? Joe Biden? America needs protected from Joe Biden, who has to be inflated with virgin baby blood every morning. Perhaps he's protecting the American people from the Democratic Party, who don't want to get you into debt like he did. Oh no, they do. Who don't want to abandon protections from Wall Street. Oh, they do. The Democrats and the Republicans are not a choice. They're both funded by the same people. Anybody in any doubt as to who the Democrat or the Republican Party or Donald Trump or Joe Biden have, whose interests they have at heart, need only look at the checks they're putting in the bank. So unless the American people wrote these cocksuckers a check for 500 million recently, which they didn't, they're not representing you and they're not protecting you, and they're going to sell you down the river for that check just as soon as they get into the Oval Office. Okay, what else have we got here? Oh yeah, the Liberal Party. The Liberal Party have elected a new leader. He is Ed Davey, and he's going to listen to the people of Britain to find out what they want. I'll tell you what they want, what they really, really want. They want another establishment cocksucker in charge of a party which professes liberalism, which for the last, well, several decades has been nothing but an establishment pillar. Let's just look at their track record of leadership, where they came from and what they were into. Ed Davey himself turned down the job at MI6 in order to be a politician and advise Paddy Ashdown, an ex-member of the SAS who killed people for the Queen. Now, if that's not liberal, you know, if that's not liberal, I don't know what isn't liberal. Paddy Ashdown, a royal cocksucker who killed people for the Queen, being advised by Ed Davey, who turned down a job at MI6 where he could spy on you for the Queen, in order to help Paddy Ashdown run a Liberal Party which espouses values of freedom and liberty and, you know, that kind of pish. So Paddy Ashdown, right. Ed Davey, yeah, right. Joe Swinson, whose policy was to completely revoke the referendum result. How democratic, how liberal, and take the people of Britain into the clutches of the European government, a bunch of unelected landowning European aristocrats who would gladly rule over you with an iron fist and get you into debt to the German central bank, whilst ensuring that you have a slightly longer tea break. Joe Swinson, totally liberal. She's so liberal, she was this liberal. I mean, she was really liberal. She was one of the most liberal women I had ever seen. And who did we have before that? Tim, the Jesus-loving homophobe. How liberal was he? It's a shame what's happened to the Liberal Party, because it should be my party of choice, with a name like Liberal. Liberal. I like liberal. I think you should do what you want, and I should do what I want, and you should leave me the fuck alone, and I'll leave you the fuck alone. That's my idea of the definition of liberal, but not the Liberal Party. No, that's not the Liberal Party at all. So if Ed Davey, if you're listening, you're a cock-sucking establishment whore, and your party is a bunch of embarrassed middle-class wankers. If you're listening. He says he's listening. I hope he's listening. Oh, what else have we got? I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here is not going to be filmed in Australia anymore. It's going to be filmed in North Wales, which it begs the question, what kind of bush tucker exactly are they going to have in North Wales? I mean, obviously sheep's testicles is on the menu because there's plenty of sheep in Wales, but you know, that's it really, you know. North Wales, it's a rather pleasant holiday location. Why would you want to leave North Wales? Perhaps what they've got in mind is the cold summit of Snowdonia for the celebrities. And how far do you think these celebrities will be from a Mars bar shop and a pint of shandy? Not very far, I would imagine. And what celebrities? Yeah, I'm a celebrity. Get me out of Britain. It's good that they're having it in Britain, because if I was a celebrity, which I kind of, you know, if you're conjuring with the idea of what a celebrity is, somebody who's rich and famous, I wouldn't be here in the paranoid mask wearing sheep mass of fucking feardom. In fact, I wonder if sheep testicle is actually, you know, mask wearing testicle. Bush Tucker today is the testicles of somebody who wears a mask all of the time. Would you eat that? Would you eat wearing a mask all the time? I wouldn't eat wearing a mask all the time when nobody is dying, apart from the sick people. The sick people we discharged from hospital who were already sick, who we sent to infect more sick people. Honestly. Speaking of masks, mon Dieu, the French president has decided that everyone in Paris must wear a mask, but it has to be stylish. It has to be, you know, haute couture. It has to be made by Givenchy. None of that Adidas Chavy masks for the people of Paris. Their masks have to be lace fringed and, you know, made of silk, or they have to be black and look cool. Apparently, cases are going up in Paris, but not deaths. And this is the mantra from around the world. Oh, we must beware of cases going up. Why? Nobody is dying from this shit. And finally, I've saved the best for last. I really have. It's the Black Lives Matter movement. Again, I know. Will it never stop? So I hear from watching the news last night, as well as reading the papers, that the Black Lives Matter movement are concerned about the lives of black people. Which is odd, because I watched a video about basketball players who weren't going to play a basketball game in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, I reckon the wages bill, right, if you counted up looking at all those players, I reckon the wages bill in that room was about $25 million, possibly per game, you know, or per month. Man, these people are paid a lot of money. They earn a lot of money. They live in a land, in America, than anywhere else on earth. It's true. And it's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame that people were kidnapped and taken from Africa and made to be slaves, or their ancestors were made to be slaves in America, where they were emancipated into a world where they could be consumers and you know, have literacy and numeracy and medical care. Because conversely, the people who were left behind in Africa, let's just look at what happened to them, with their life expectancy in the Niger Basin being about 40 years, thanks to Total and other oil companies poisoning the entire landscape. Their governments corrupted and bribed and subverted by corporations from America so they could steal their mineral reserves and impoverish the people of Congo and most other countries in Africa. Yeah, it's a shame if you were left, it's a shame if you were stolen from Africa to the heart of the Caribbean. It's a shame if that happened to you, because I'm sure you'd much rather be in Africa with the spreading Sahara and the murdering warlords of the Congo Basin, the poverty, the disease, the high infant mortality. Yeah, I'm sure you'd rather be there. But if you wouldn't rather be there, and your concern is black lives, why don't you take some of the millions of dollars that you earn playing basketball, playing football, or whatever else it is you're doing in America, and cure some diarrhea back in the homeland, where 2 million people in Africa die of diarrhea, easily cured by water purification tablets for $1 every year. Lordy, lordy! I'm glad I wasn't kidnapped and taken to America to be a slave, so I could stay here and die young and have my children squirt out their life as diarrhea while a bunch of millionaire basketball players pish on about black lives on the media in the land of milk and fucking honey. People suck. White people suck. Black people suck. White people's lives matter. Well, maybe to you. I couldn't give a fuck about people, white or black. Honestly, I couldn't. Fuck people. They're like a fucking self-important fucking disease on this planet. Oh, people are so cool. Are we? Are we that cool? I mean, I'm cool. Cool, but I'm not sure about the rest of you. I'm cool, but everybody else sucks. So, black lives matter. Maybe if you're black, your life matters. But that's not to say that it's a black life that matters, it's your life that matters. And if you give a fuck about black lives, and you're black or white or whatever, I suggest it's a numbers game. I suggest it's not about the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 100 or 200 people who are shot in the face by a twitchy-fingered cop in America. I suggest you cast your eye over the grand vista of millions of black people starving to death, dying from diarrhea, suffering short lifespans because of pollution, having the wealth of their country ripped off by corporations, while you wonder which pair of fucking Nike shoes to buy. Fuck off! Remember, I'm a theatrical construct, and I personally cannot be held liable. Well, you know, like, my author cannot be held liable for my pronouncements, as I am an imaginary being. Okay, well, I think that's it for what the papers say today. Maybe slightly shorter than normal since I am driving. And normal service will be resumed tomorrow. So until then, have a great day. I know I'm gonna.